Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. So let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods. A lot of people are waking up to this winter storm. We were going to be going down the country to work on this rental property, but unfortunately it is still snowing. It's going to turn to sleet, and then it'll rain, and then tomorrow the temperature is going to go from about 40 degrees down to about 5 degrees. So be careful out there. It's going to be Saturday, I think 10 degrees Saturday night. And I got a steak and cheese to cook outside on the griddle. I got to cook the big sub on Christmas Eve. I'm not sure how many people are going to be coming over for the Christmas Eve game, but we'll find out soon enough. So here we are. It is Thirsty Thursday, and we are hearing Nick Sirianni says it looks like Jalen Hurts won't be playing. And, you know, this is kind of funny to me because when you look at teams, and I always say there's three sides to every argument. There's your side, my side, and somewhere in the middle lies the truth. Nobody ever wants to put themselves in the worst light. They're always going to make the argument in the case that, you know, everything is better than what it may actually be. Hence what we see on a lot of the shows now. They will cherry pick some statistics that make things sound bad. In the end, the question is, did you win or did you lose? You can put blame everywhere. But the thing is you either win as a team or lose as a team. It's the bottom line. So going into this game, Eagle fans are already on the defensive. Oh, well, we don't have Jalen Hurts to play, you know. So they've already set it up that if we lose, it doesn't really matter. The funny thing is we say, you know, we had Cooper Rush playing who had 3 interceptions. And we lost. They'll say, it doesn't matter. We kicked your ass. Kind of like last year when we won both games. When we won both games, first one, it was too early in the season. It didn't matter. You mean the 40-24 or something like that? 40-24? Blowout didn't count? And then we played the second time. Oh, well, we rested our starters. It didn't count. So it is what it is. But you know what Bill Parcells says, your record is what it is. And the Eagles, as much as I trash them and talk about how their schedule hasn't been that strong, how they've had games that they should have lost, like, you know, the Colts game, they got, you know, they dug deep in the last second and won it. The Bears game, they didn't look exactly that great. You know, they still found a way to win. So I can't disrespect that. From now on, here's what's going to matter. It doesn't matter what you did to get to the playoffs. If Washington ends up winning 2 of the next 3 games and gets in, it doesn't matter what they did to get there. They have an opportunity, just like everybody else, to go to the Super Bowl. It's a new season. It's great. Eagles could go 16-1. Doesn't mean shit when you get to the playoffs. It only matters in that one game that you're facing, and then hopefully going on to the next. But a couple of things that are interesting to me right now are how quiet the Dallas Cowboys players are this week. Last week, you know, as Micah pointed out, every time somebody goes on a podcast, they lose. We had Micah Parsons last week, you know, talking about, is Jalen Hurts MVP? Is it the team? Didn't really disrespect him, but that was a focal. We had us talking about Odell Beckham Jr. ad nauseum. And here's the thing that's kind of funny. In the time that we've been talking about Odell Beckham and having the team swooning over Odell, we've had 2 kind of bad games. Have you noticed that? The Texans game and then the Jaguar game. You know, we're constantly talking back for Odell. Odell's in town. Odell is going to be signed. It's not going to be signed. Jerry Jones, you know, wait for it. All of a sudden, everything's gotten quiet in Dallas. everything's gotten quiet in Dallas. And maybe for once, the Cowboys are focusing in on actually playing a game. That, my friends, is what the Cowboys need to do. Now, we know that there's not a lot of real practices anymore. Tuesday was like a walkthrough, virtual reality just about. Yesterday was a light practice. Micah Parsons has missed both of those. We'll see if he actually practices today. Tomorrow, of course, is the day before the game. The Eagles will be traveling, and they'll be traveling without Jalen Hurts. So I don't know if the Cowboys will look at this and say, let's rest players, or is this, we need to play for just feeling better about ourselves. I don't know that I want to see our Cowboys get beat badly in this game and just say we're packing it in till the playoffs and have that bad feeling. I would love to have the feeling of beating the Eagles and understanding that we can do that, although they'll say it's because they didn't have Jalen Hurts. Be that as it may, I'll take the win. Other news, as we talked about a couple of days ago, and ongoing, which directly affects me because I can't wait to get rid of that satellite dish off my roof. Unfortunately, I guess I'm going to have to be the one to get up on the roof to get it off because I know they're not coming through to take it off. DirecTV is moving to right here. YouTube, Google will have the rights to YouTube. To Sunday Ticket, which will be really kind of crazy. So it will be YouTube TV, which will help YouTube TV take another major step. And already with them being kind of in partnership with the NFL, this is just going to grow. There's no word yet on how much money it is. I can't wait to find out. Because let me explain something to you. Let me pull out my calculator real quick, okay? Because here's what we had before. There was $1.5 billion is what DirecTV was paying the NFL for Sunday Ticket a year, okay? If you divide that by 32 teams, that's $46.8 million. Multiply that by 0.48, $22.5 million of the salary cap was what DirecTV was paying. So when you look and say, you can't pay a quarterback or whatever, or, we're our salary cap money, $22.5 million up until this year was what came from DirecTV to pay the players. Now, it was rumored that $3 million is what Apple was looking at. But hypothetically, let's say because they stepped up, and I'm imagining that Google said, you know what, we're going to just knock everybody else out. We're just going to go ahead and say $4 billion. Let's say it's $4 billion. So minus the 1.5 that DirecTV was paying, that's $2.5 billion, right? $2.5 billion additional revenue. Now, we're just talking about this deal. We're not talking about ABC's Monday Night Football, ESPN. But mind you, Disney is already starting the process of getting rid of ABC and ESPN off their platforms. So ESPN will be standalone again. So $2.5 billion divided up by 32 teams, okay? That's $78 million, 78.1, multiplied by the player share, which is $48 million. That, my friends, right there, that one deal, if it ends up being $4 billion, an additional $2.5 billion in revenue, will come out to $37.5 million per team in additional cap room. $37.5 billion. That doesn't count gambling money. That doesn't count all the other television deals that don't take effect until next year. That's when they start off on the books. The NFL has already said that the floor for the salary cap next year will be $220. And that's with them basically taking some of the money to make up for the bad years on the cap. So you're going to see, and this is what's going to be crazy. We're going to look at, in say 2 years, Aaron Rodgers' $50 million deal as a good deal. That's how crazy it's going to be. You're going to see the biggest jumps in the next couple of years. Before COVID, there were estimates that the salary cap by 2027 could be around $470 million a team. That's a lot of money. But it makes sense because you also saw where Forbes was talking about NFL teams by 2025 are going to be worth about, on average, $8 billion. There you go. And in the state of Virginia, Governor Youngkin, because the Washington Commanders are looking to maybe lose Dan Snyder and are actually seem to be a viable franchise that at the moment they're a playoff team, is trying to revive getting money for a new stadium in Virginia. We'll see if that happens. I, for one, don't want it in Virginia. I don't want any of my tax dollars going to the left hands or the right hands up. Just don't. All right, so as we get ready for this game and things, and I'm going to go in the workshop since we got some extra time. We've got some more prints and stuff that we got to do and get out. Michael's got everything boxed up. The guy who ordered, was it Lewis, you ordered Joe Barty yesterday morning. It's packaged up and going out today. My man who is trying to make his friend feel better because he wanted to give him a Rams Super Bowl, Joe Barty, it's done and packed up. We've got prints for Michael, who did those major super chats. Yours are packed up and ready to go, along with some other stuff as well. And we got more to do it. All right, so with that being said, let's listen in to, is there any way that the Dallas Cowboys want to play the Bucs in the first round of the playoffs?
Pick one right now. Who comes out of the AFC? Bills, 34%.
Is that right?
Chiefs, 31%. Bengals, 24%. The field, 10%.
10%, just the field, huh? So nobody believes in Jaguars,
Chargers,
Titans, or any of the wild card teams.
Dolphins.
None of the wild card teams.
Ravens. Nope.
Huh.
Big three. 90% big three.
I mean, we would. I would even put out a poll like who's coming out of the out of the NFC.
But you already know.
Would be answer. Eagles. It would be Eagles, Niners, Vikings,
Cowboys,
and then the field. So taking the top three in the field, you throw the Cowboys in the field.
We are in the field. We're not going to win the division.
Tom Brady might be in the field, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was just going to do Niners, Eagles.
Let me tell you something. The rest of the NFC, I'm going to say this.
Niners, Eagles.
I'm going to say this.
Field,
no, hold on a second. I'm going to say this. Rest of the NFC, best hope that Carolina wins that division. I'm just saying, man.
What? You think the Bucs have some magic left?
The Bucs have some magic left, yes.
Stop it. Come on, man.
The Bucs, if they make it, will show up
and
on a home,
and lose by 17 to
on
Dallas.
The day it happens. The it being the Bucs host a playoff game.
And get run off the field.
They host a playoff game. And let's just say lead it after one quarter, and they're in it in the second quarter. You think they're going to get run off, right?
I do. They're not. They're not.
That
good.
their problems.
They're not very good.
That their problems that they went through all year long, and still, by the grace of the football gods, to place them in the ultimate real estate of location. This year's NFC South.
Mm-hmm.
You're still fine with it.
Dallas is so much better than them.
Let me now turn to the man whose heart will be in his throat.
Oh, man. Look at my man.
You're rooting for the Carolina Panthers, aren't you?
I mean,
you got to be.
Yeah. I don't want to see Tom Brady.
Period. End of story.
I don't want to see Tom Brady.
But this isn't even like last year, Tom Brady.
Yeah, but,
ask the Rams in the last seconds of their game if that was it's not even last year's Tom Brady.
What do you mean?
Ask the Rams who lost to last year's Tom Brady in the final seconds of that game.
Right. This year is not last year's Tom Brady. Ask
this year's New Orleans Saints. If it was last year's Tom Brady, they would have swept him.
Look, I love
Keep sleeping.
I
is what
love
I'm
the
saying.
Cowboys, obviously, and my job here is to hype up the Cowboys and be super fan, which annoys people. But if I'm going to be John Ridley, the fan is going to tell you, yeah, Dallas is going to win. The human being is going to be like, I don't want to see them.
I love Tom Brady. The Bucs stink.
I love Tom Brady. The Bucs stink.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers with my own 2 eyes in Germany. And that team that showed up to Allianz Arena
did not pass through customs
on that day might not have passed through customs. I agree. With the exception of the final drive against the Rams and then drives against the Saints, that team has not shown up. Or the first half against the Bengals. They have not shown up in a full, complete 60-minute contest. I agree with you, but the team's still there. This team is still in that locker room, and that team. I'm not keeping the faith. I'm just spitting truth that we could say as much as we want about Brady's future and this team this and that team that, and Todd Bowles is not this and he should be that, and all of that. That if the Bucs win the division and host a playoff game, and the Cowboys come to town, the whole country's sitting in front of the television sets, and you can't tell me that the Bucs can't show up like Munich and win that game. You can't. And you know it deep down in your bones, you can't say it. You can't say it.
Will I bet against Tom Brady? No. But I think
That's why
I think they're
I'm
going to get
saying
worked.
the rest of the NFC, especially the Dallas Cowboys, should be rooting for the Carolina Panthers. All I'm saying. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the...
Now, I will say this much. When we look at the playoffs, I would say the worst matchup that we have would be against the 49ers. That's the team that can run the hell out of the football and has a great defense. I'm not scared of Kirk Cousins. I'm not scared of the Eagles. That's a team that we know. I'm not scared of the Giants. I'm not scared of the Commanders. Tom Brady in the playoffs, right now, Tampa Bay is not a good team. But you have to say Tom Brady, a veteran, a guy who has the experience and the will to win. You still, and the Cowboys having had their experiences with Tom Brady over the years and never beating him, that emotional wall, that emotional barrier to get over it. Maybe in some regards, that would be the best thing for the Dallas Cowboys, is to have to face Tom Brady. Sometimes you got to face your worst fears, and you have to beat them to move on to go to other levels. You can't run and hide forever. You got to take those challenges on. So that's my thoughts on this. And we'll see what news there is. Like I said, this week, it has been very, very quiet for both teams. I think both teams are really focused in on this one. I think the Eagles, and maybe I'm wrong, don't like the fact that people say, their schedule's been soft, that they haven't played great teams or a tough schedule, having the 27th easiest schedule. And that they want to send a message and say, look at that, we swept the Cowboys. Because that's bragging rights. They haven't swept the Cowboys. They haven't had a quarterback sweep the Cowboys since 2011. So from that standpoint, this means a lot to them. For us, we're talking about playing at home, trying to get back on track, trying to shut up all of the haters out there that say that the Cowboys stink, that they're frauds, that they're accidents waiting to happen. And I think the Cowboys want to turn the narrative on that one. Question will be is, what team shows up? We do have a bunch of injuries in key locations, but, we haven't been able to use that as an excuse all year. We are where we are because we have gotten through and past injuries. I look for Tyron Smith to play better now that he's gotten his legs underneath of him. I look to see T.Y. Hilton. I look to see anybody better than Kellen Joseph out there, and we'll see what we're going to see. And with that being said, it's time for me to go to work. You know how we roll.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Sports Report.